EXS Live is an opinion-based program. All opinions, comments, or statements made by our show hosts or guests are strictly their own. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everybody, and welcome to TrumpDate. I'm your host, Ryan. Today I want to talk to you about what's going on in the White House because of the Comey investigations. Everybody knows about what's going on in the White House when it boils down to Comey getting fired. Now, nobody knows the exact reason why, and the White House keeps scrambling to come up with reasons why Trump fired him. Now, Trump said that he was planning on firing him for months ago, but see, right before he got elected, he said that he was, he praised Comey and basically said how great he was in office, or how great he was and all that other stuff. During a press conference, the United States, or the press secretary came out and said something on the lines of, "Oh, we apologize, Mr. Comey got fired due to emails and all this other stuff." And it's like, I don't understand it. I have no comprehension of how somebody can sit there and say, look at Comey's getting fired, and not see that it has anything to do with that in less than 24 hours, the Russian ambassador shows up to the White House and they have media there from the Russian ambassador, from Russia. And Trump gets mad because they leaked photos of the Russian ambassador showing up. People keep calling him a puppet. But you also have to remember that Putin, if you've ever seen anything Putin has said about Trump, Putin has recently said that he doesn't like Trump. 3 times since Trump has been elected, Putin has publicly stated that he does not like Trump. Putin wants to de-escalate the situation for North Korea. He doesn't want another war with North Korea. They're also begging for an investigation into the Syrian attack, saying that Assad had nothing to do with it. And when I did some independent research into it, I come to find out that Assad has been begging for an investigation into it, and the United States basically bombed them with no proof of what happened. None. Absolutely no proof that, the Syrian government and under Assad attacked those people. Now, a lot of people don't understand that there's currently 4 factions that are fighting in Syria. There's ISIS that is fighting against Syria. Okay, the Syrian government, and they're fighting against the United States. Russia's fighting with Assad, okay, trying to push the rebels out. And then you have the demilitarized, the ex-Assad army that broke off and is fighting Assad and ISIS. And the United States is in there fighting Assad and ISIS, and it's basically a jumble of a bunch of people that just have no idea and shouldn't even be there. Assad is trying to take his own country, and the reason why the United States has such a problem with Assad is because we're a very propaganda machine. We hear something and we react right away instead of doing investigations to find out what happened, and that is very clear with Iraq and Afghanistan. We are fighting war with terrorists that don't exist. These are just people that have different beliefs than us. In reality, our own government was started with terrorism. We fought against England to start the United States. People in the United States talk about militias and talk about all this other stuff and say it's such a bad thing. But you have to also understand that these people have the belief that our Constitution and our country is being run into the dirt, and they just want to change it. And the only way that they see to change it is through violence. I don't believe that the change is through violence. I believe change is through elections. I believe we need to start fighting people that actually want to run for government and do a good job, not because of their lies, but because of their actions. If a politician has lied to you, he should be reelected, period. Okay? If a politician doesn't show your best interests every single time, that's not a good politician. And people keep saying that we're forced to vote for these people. You're not completely forced. There are also other people that want to run independent parties that aren't running under the Democratic and Republican flag. They're actually wanting to do really well for this country. Now, don't get me wrong. Independents can be different. But see, when you think of an independent, you also think of somebody outside of the box who doesn't really know what they want. Well, most independents actually do. They want to stabilize government with good health care. And, like I said, everybody wants the same thing. Good health care, good society, good everything. Everybody basically wants the same structure, but everybody wants to go about doing it differently. So instead of fighting about it, why don't we step up and start voting for people who actually matter and are going to represent us in the actual government? Step up and vote for somebody that you wouldn't vote for. Look into your politics. Look into your local politics and find out, why is this stuff changing? You know, up until 1913, there was no state tax, or there was no federal or state tax. None. Zero. You got 100% of your paycheck. And yet the government still had the strongest military, the best roads, the best infrastructure. Government projects were everywhere. You had companies that were loving to come here. People's wages, you know, weren't the greatest in the world, but they were actually able enough to take care of their food and all this other stuff. See, up until 1913, the United States citizens were actually able to do everything that they wanted with their entire paycheck. And then they started taxing people based off of their income. Dude, now you're taxed off of your income and you're taxed off of property. This all has to stop. And it all stops with elections. If you want to stop the people voting for Trump and people that are politicians that are on Trump's side, and if you want to stop this oligarchy of continuous corruption, you need to find a way to vote people in. You need to find the people. Look into your local government. Because otherwise, Trump is going to drive our country into the dirt. He is going to literally drive our country into the dirt. And the question that I have for our government is why haven't any investigations been done into literal? Why hasn't he been impeached for any of the things that he's done, including using his business, you know, calling people from countries and then handing the phone over to his son to talk business? He's literally creating more business for Trump. He's doing all this for himself. He's not there for you. He grew up in a rich family, and if you don't understand that, there's something seriously wrong with you. All right, I'm gonna get off here. This is Ryan with the Trump Report, or TrumpDate. Bye.